All right. Welcome back to Inside the 90. Jamie, happy Friday.
Likewise. Fall is here. It's beautiful outside.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Even though we got a little snow on Monday, we went, my folks were in town and we went hiked at Whitewater Falls.
Oh, yeah.
And we had snow.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah. It was gorgeous. It was a really cool experience. It was like, we were like in the middle of the trees and there's just a little dusting coming down. So
yeah, I was in Vancouver where it was warmer there than here in South Carolina on Sunday and Monday.
Was it really?
Yeah, so we were up there just kicking around Vancouver. Y'all were down here
snowing here. It was cold. It got cold too.
Yeah.
We took the boat to get winterized and it was a huge line. Everybody was trying to get it in. It was last Friday, right before the freeze.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, good. Well, I'm excited about this topic, especially talking with you. You sat in both seats, which is unique. So we're going to talk about visionary and integrator.
Yeah.
And the relationship, where it came from. Let's just dig in a little bit. So maybe just kick off a little bit about your journey of like your experience as an integrator and now transitioning more into the visionary.
Yeah, it goes back to my introduction to EOS was when I had been entrepreneurial, had owned a business for over a decade, had gone corporate for a decade. So I'd been out in the world for quite a while, and went and met with a friend of mine, Adam Landrum, whose name comes up all the time because he's a good friend, part of the local tribe here, and he had asked me what I was going to do because I was going to start my own thing again, and then he heard me out, and then he was like, "Don't do that," and he said, "I'm doing this EOS thing." Yeah. And he said, "I'm an accountant that owns an ad agency. I've been doing this 20 years. I'm exhausted. I think you'd be the right person with your experience to come in and help me, bring some energy back to this business, but sitting in the integrator seat." Mm-hmm. And I think one important thing there that, I think Adam, we knew each other. He knew my background and experience. So, he didn't hire me because I'm a natural integrator. He hired me because I understood the business.
Absolutely.
And what he wanted was someone who could come in and really bring energy and lead the team. And so my introduction to EOS was get a grip and just reading through the book over that weekend before I joined him and came on as his integrator. And I didn't even know what it meant. I read the book. Yeah. But like I showed up to be the integrator and had not been in any sessions or anything.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And then fast forward now, once you started Wonder, you kind of went through that same journey to find your right fit for your integrator.
Yeah.
And that's always a piece of this that when you look at a team and you start implementing EOS, a lot of times we'll place somebody in the integrator seat that may already be in the organization. And usually within a year, we're going to find if that's the right person or not, because that relationship is so key. It's literally like two puzzle pieces fitting together. And so it's a little bit of a visionary's hunt to find their integrator.
Yeah.
It's more than just GWC, that specific seat and core values. There's a little bit more to that relationship.
Yeah. And I think in both me being the integrator to a visionary, we had an existing relationship.
Yes.
And there was trust there, right? We had been in the same business as peers for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, he wanted the experience, but he wanted it within the confines of the integrator relationship for him.
Absolutely.
He had employees, but he had never had that VI relationship.
Yes.
And so, the dynamic there that was interesting is I'm a 68 on the integrator assessment and I'm an 86 on the visionary assessment.
Yeah. So you can play both roles essentially, but you're more a visionary tendency.
Correct. Yeah. And I had, after doing my own thing and then going corporate, and I had kind of called it like a little buddy, like I'm good to come along someone else and help them execute on their vision. And I did that and it was enjoyable. We did get to the point where Adam's vision for his business, which was he wanted to take one direction, and I felt like I wasn't the guy to lead that charge. So after 3 years, and my visionary instincts were kicking in, I was like, I'm now need to go do this for myself. Yeah. So once I jumped out and kind of went on my own again, then I knew the day would come where I was going to have an integrator.
Absolutely.
And who was that going to be? Because I definitely, I was going to run this business on EOS from day one. We did.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting the right timing, the right person, availability, all that, like when's it, but it all really did. The timing was impeccable.
And what were the things when you went and searching for your integrator, what were the things that you were looking for?
Yeah. So I think I may overvalue this, but I'm in marketing and advertising. On the surface, it's a simple business. We just get paid to come up with ideas. Behind the scenes, it's multidisciplinary. It's complicated. Everything's custom. So it's not a super process. You can't necessarily scale the creativity itself, right?
Right.
So I needed someone who understood the business to understand that what we're scaling is the ability to do creative things to solve problems for clients with a multidisciplinary team. But what doesn't work in an agency environment is a lot of rigidity in structure and process. I mean, process and structure is good, but that's not always the answer. Yeah. You have to know how to be effective before you really focus on efficiency.
GWC more than just come in and put in process.
Correct. Yeah. And so my fear, because I am, on the Colby, I'm a 7473. So process is something I love giving to people.
You don't like to follow.
I don't like to follow.
A lot of those issues that end up on the issues list is probably because Jamie's process didn't get followed.
Exactly. But I am systematic, right? I can see the landscape of something and architect something and be like, all right, cool. Here's the process. This is where we're going to have to do this. Everybody got it. Cool. Don't ask me to live it.
Right.
But so I really needed someone who could bring the accountability and the process to me. But I knew they had to know the business.
Yes.
And so, being an agency entrepreneur for over 2 decades, I knew a few people.
Yes.
So I really did. Once I was like, I've got to find the right integrator. I had a guy who had worked for me back in 07, like 06 to 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, his name's Ryan. I called him, he was my boss, is what I would joke, right? Because he's the guy who brought all the order to allow us to get everything done.
Yeah.
And my business partner and I were selling stuff, making promises, and then he was figuring out how to deliver on those. And it was fun. But he was in essence like an integrator before I knew what an integrator was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I tried to get him to join me, but he's been in the corporate side for a long time. And when it got down to like, all right, we're going to do this, he really raised his hand and he said, man, this is way too entrepreneurial for me. He's like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And because we were starting something, and then what ended up happening is 2 or 3 days after that, another person, oddly enough, who was one of my old clients and collaborators who Ryan had actually started his career working for.
Oh, I don't know.
He taught him, all the operational stuff. He reached out, and it's Warren Griffith. He's my integrator today. And, Warren and I owned the same agency in different chapters.
At different times.
So we knew each other. We know our backgrounds. I know his strengths. He knows my strengths. And Warren is high tenacity, get stuff done.
Yes.
And so I think what I found, I mean, just timing was impeccable because it was literally within a few days. Mm-hmm. I already had our kickoff with you for our focus day scheduled. Already
scheduled, yeah.
So we were scheduled for June 6th.
I think you texted me like the week before and you're like, I found my integrator.
Yes. I think you were probably like, what?
What happened here?
But,
good thing we found him because it's going to be off the rails real quick.
But what ended up happening with how it all came together is have been an integrator and I'm more visionary. I'm now in the right seat.
Yeah.
Warren is more integrator, but he had owned an agency for 10 years by himself, the sole partner, and he got exhausted, right? The energy it takes to lead from the front, to go close and sell and do all that stuff actually ground him down. And he sold the agency about 18 months before he reached out to me and joined us at Wonder. But now, he's like I think he's a 90-something in the integrator assessment.
Yeah, he is like a 92.
Yeah. And I'm, in the right seat, and it's just what I wish I would have had my whole entrepreneurial career earlier. Our relationship is the driver and the glue.
Yeah. And in experience, right, that VI relationship is so important. It's so important to it stacks up against just EOS as a whole.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to have that relationship that's strong. The majority of teams that struggle that I see, it's a lack in trust and a lack in following the rules of the VI relationship. Right. It's like, are we staying on the same page? Right. Like I know you and Warren are pretty diligent about your same page meetings.
Yeah, great. We do it Friday afternoons once a month.
Yeah. And how long do those typically go for
until the list is cleared off? That's one thing as an integrator, I'm like, when we sit down, when I was with Adam, I mean, we started at 2 sometimes and it was 11:30 at night. And Adam's like, I need to go to bed. And I'm like, we're not through these issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Warren and I haven't been that, challenging yet.
But you'll go 4 hours.
Oh, easily. Yeah. It's a 2 to 6 in the afternoon.
And
easily.
you do that once a month?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah.
And what are you putting on that list?
I'd say he's better at dropping it on there as in between.
Yeah.
So he'll be building that list out.
A perfect integrator.
Yeah, correct.
And you're coming in, driving in, writing things down.
Yes.
Perfect visionary. Right?
But it's all in 90, so we pull 90 up and we start going through the list, and it's an L10 format for us. We just are focusing on, we'll do check-ins.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at the list, make sure that we're not missing anything. And then we just try to plow through it all.
Love it. And there's this yin and yang that kind of occurs with the visionary and integrator. I think, the culture around the VI in the EOS space is always a little strange to me at times and I'm saying this because at times we it almost feels like a stereotype of a visionary and integrator. And that's why I say it's a puzzle piece. You have to find your right one.
Yeah. Because
it's not a set box. The visionary does these exact things. They always show up this way. And the integrator does these things and always shows up this way. There is this match that you're looking for.
Yeah. That
pulls that in. But yeah, everybody brings value. Everybody brings those things. And there needs to be this natural friction. To where I see a lot of times visionary and integrators relationships are weak is that there's not enough friction between the relationship. Yeah. It's just the integrator is sitting there and be like, well, yep, I'll just take care of it. Give it to me. I'll put it on the list. It just is like order taking almost, or the exact opposite. And they're just like, you visionary, you go over there. Don't be involved. I got it.
Yeah.
Right. And really, it's the duo that is really leading the charge. And that visionary needs to be obsessed with EOS, needs to be obsessed with the culture, needs to be driving us, demanding our level of service, right? Telling us where we're going. And that integrator is bridging the gaps in those areas and making sure that each function stays strong, and it's the glue that kind of keeps things together in that, and is the one that is pushing on the visionary, understanding where we're going, but also saying maybe now is not the right time. Is it the right time? Right? Like just kind of that dynamic back and forth.
Yeah, I think ultimately I've been known to whiplash, right? Especially like just being a visionary, growing a business, there's that. But then with my Colby, I'm a high fact finder, high quick start.
Yeah.
Which those two are actually by definition, foot on the gas, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, foot on the brake. Because it's like, if I've done it before, I don't need any information, go. New, pause, I got to ask some questions.
Yes.
And, I've been in this business forever. I've done all these things before. So I'm inside the walls of the business, right? And I think, Warren's very good at balancing that out and preventing that whiplash effect from happening.
Well, we all have felt this, right? When we sit in a session, we build quarterly rocks and we say, here's our focus for the next 90 days. And about a month in, it's like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
And the priorities shifted and these things are kind of going. And what has happened there is that, and you'll feel that, or that's in an EOS term, like format, it can just happen naturally. Whereas like we leave a meeting and we feel very aligned. And then the next week it's like, what happened? I thought this is what we agreed to. Why are we way over here? And that's where the tools really come in. Weak VI relationships will be okay with that, and they'll just be annoyed, but they'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Strong VI relationships are going to call that stuff out.
Yeah.
And call it out through an issues list and look at it through a tool. Hey, I thought we're on the same page with this rock saying that this was our priority. I'm lost because now we're going this way. Is this, oh yeah, you're right. Let's go back there. Or yeah, things have shifted. Well, let's talk about that now. Yeah. How does this rock change? How does this goal or target change?
Yeah.
But it's really kind of pushing back and forth on that priority.
Yeah, I think with, letting them own the seat, that's something in the past 6 months you've spoken into me, is because I think, I think about stuff all the time. My brain doesn't shut off, right? So I can get a racket going in my head, and but that's where I need to pause. Either put it on an issue list or sidebar with Warren, but let most of those things are his problems to solve.
Yes.
Right. And even though I may tell him that I found the problem and here's the solution before he ever knew one existed, right? It's like I can't do that. I have to enable him and support him and actually let the team see that he has, that build the credibility of him in his role.
Absolutely.
Because what that ultimately does is that frees me up.
Yes.
It's I as much as I am the linchpin in a lot of the stuff that we do, and I'm trying to let go of some of that, I desire not to. I'm the opposite of a control freak, I think. Like the second there's a GWC that I can give it to, here. But when we don't have that, then basically I can just get manic and wrapped up in everything, but I need to give a lot of that to him to let him figure out how to solve.
Yes, absolutely. And really, I see it in two spots. Like use the tools to where that L10 and that quarterly, like there's short-term issues list and a long-term issues list for the leadership team. That's all about the business, performance, execution, all of that. And then the same page is a lot about year two relationship.
Correct.
So things that maybe there's a misalignment between the two of you, or, hey, there's an issue here that like you said these couple things and I'd need to know what was behind what you were saying there. Like it's about sharpening each other's sword and pushing and pulling and building that. That's really what that same page should really be.
Yeah.
And that level 10 is all about how do we build this beautiful company through the lens of this leadership team. Yeah. And that helped me when Tom and I had Barracks. We had, Vision and Integrator. We would do same page. And it helped me knowing that this is for our relationship. And the leadership team L10 is for the execution stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, I think with, my core role in the visionary seat is I'm already, obsessed about the product, but equally obsessed about EOS and the framework, and then the culture.
Yes.
Like those are the quality of the work, the culture of the team, and how we're using EOS. That's really my function.
Yes.
And just making sure that I can push everything else down, not push down, let Warren actually rightfully have what's his.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for me to let go, to focus on those things, because running the business is running on EOS. That's the outcomes that we're looking for.
I love it. I love it. And I'm telling, if an integrator is listening to this, you're visionary and the rest of your team wants you to have a stronger voice.
Yeah.
Every single time I hear this, like every team I'm with, not every time, but a lot of teams I'm with, when you do the annual one thing commitment, a lot of the feedback to whoever who sits in that integrator seat is we want you to have more opinions.
Yeah.
And push for it. Not opinions. That's the wrong word. Sorry. We need you to push against us to keep our vision and our priorities in the forefront.
Yeah. Create the tension.
Create the tension.
Tension is good.
But create the tension through the lens of the problem, not the person.
Yeah.
Right? Like bringing things back. I had this great example of what this should look like in a conversation with the client and I, and we were talking about how there's two ways. One is like trying to create the alignment compared to fight against it, right? And one is like, okay, I'm gonna get all those opinions, bring them together, and then I'm gonna like, this is what I think we should do being the integrator, right? Compared to fight against it and push against it. Hey, these are our rocks. All like, is that in line with this? Is that gonna help us achieve this?
Yeah.
Right? You come in with this, like, wait, hold on, is that not a different place here now? Right? Like, use it to push against things through the lens of those.
Yeah, and I've told Warren, like, I'm pretty good at getting people rallied up and moving forward, and I'll take us straight over the cliff.
Yeah.
So I need, and everyone's coming with me. So I need someone there, like pulling the reins back and saying, like, hey, this is actually what you need to be focused on. Yeah. And I would say I'm probably a pretty complex mess of visionary and creative and spaz and all that, right? Yes. So I think it takes a special person for my integrator to be like, all right, well, Jamie's got some strengths there, but there's a bunch of stuff that, he's got to hold me accountable for.
Yes. And a lot of visionary and integrator relationships that I see, the integrator is a strong financial acumen.
Yes.
The visionary may not as much. Sometimes that financial acumen lives in the visionary, and then the integrator doesn't need it as much, but typically it sits in the integrator seat.
Yeah.
And it's like, one of the studies of where the VI relationship came from was Walt Disney and Roy Disney, right? Walt Disney was the dreamer. He was the one that had all the vision, but Roy, his brother, was the one that really brought it to life.
Yeah.
And he was the financial guy, right? It was like, this is how it's going to go. And there's a cool story around that. So Walt never saw Disney World in Orlando. It was a vision, and they actually had the grand opening of it, and Walt had already passed. And so Roy is sitting there talking, and somebody in a context said, it's too bad that Walt wasn't here to see this. And he goes, well, if it's here today, it means that Walt saw it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like, that's just that's that relationship, and that's how that works. Yeah. But it's usually that integrator has a strong financial acumen.
So with that, one of the questions I hear a lot or read other people asking is, where do I find my integrator? How does a visionary go about finding their integrator, and when do they find an integrator?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple of components that I would recommend doing before you just start searching is making sure that you're strong on your accountability chart. Like, what are those roles? What is that relationship going to look like? There's some search firms out there, like when you're ready to take that step, there's some search firms out there that can help you.
Yep. Vision Spark,
Talent Harbor, Hire Better are three that I know in the ecosystem that understand EOS. There's enough EOS out there that you may find an integrator that has EOS background. I think it's a positive. I don't think it's a necessity. Find the right fit for you, and we can teach them the tools.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a nice to have. It's not a necessity.
Yeah, I think that's, in my experience, you want to understand the role. Can the person do the role?
Yes.
And then EOS is, depending on where you are in your rollout, that's the process.
Yeah. You want them to commit to it.
Correct. Yes.
And you want their commitment, but they don't need to have necessarily full experience in EOS.
And then I also think they have to align on the expectations and of what the relationship with the visionary integrator is. Right?
I think that's absolutely huge. Like, it really needs to be an open conversation around, like, we're going to do this thing together.
Yeah.
It's a together, and we're going to push, and we're going to pull, and we're going to build, and and we're going to hug, and we're going to fight, and we're going to, all of that. It becomes that type of a relationship. But those are the things that I would start to look at. There is a nice job description on Rocket Fuel University that you can pull out.
Okay.
That has one. There's also, think about timing here. So there's fractional integrators that can come in that are EOS trained, and maybe you're not quite prepared to hire somebody full time. They do 1 day a week and they run your L10s, and then they do same page meetings, and they have one-on-ones with the discipline owners.
Yeah.
So it starts to become that glue. And a lot of times it provides all of us with we'll use a fractional for 6 months, start to understand how this looks. What do we need to then go hire our next one?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing I would tell you is don't feel like once you hire one, that is your integrator forever. As a visionary, if you're a visionary, you're the founder of the organization, you're the owner. Like if they're not the right person, make a change and go search for the right person.
Yeah.
It's going to be all the difference once you have them.
And then I think from a visionary's perspective, like you've got to enable them and equip them. And you also have to understand they have veto power, right? On some operational things, like the how is no longer your job.
Yes.
Like this is what we do. And this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. That's the visionary. But the how it gets done and the mechanics of it, if you're a visionary in that, well, I recommend everyone just, if you're the founder of the company or the owner and the leader in the company, it's the personality skills and traits that define visionary versus integrator, not the role or how you got there, right?
Correct.
So I think going to Rocket Fuel University and I think there's an assessment for each. There's one for visionary and for integrator, because I've met visionaries who, once they get into it, actually realize they're more integrator.
Yes.
And especially if you're thinking about like, hey, I need a partner or I need, someone to help me operationally. I would start with those two assessments at Rocket Fuel University.
That's a great place to start. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the 5 rules. I always forget the 5th one. That's why I'm pulling my shit. So we want to cut this little piece out.
So let's talk about the 5 rules, Andrew.
Okay. So I agree. Go take the crystallizer assessment on Rocket Fuel University. It will tell you, it'll give you a score on visionary and integrator of what percentage you kind of fit in that.
Yeah. And it's not right or wrong. It's just a self-assessment for you to know, like, all right, well, here's you're going to learn from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you brought up an important one of the rules of that visionary integrator relationship about the integrator is the tiebreaker. I think we just need to hit the 5 rules real quick before we close out. So the first rule is that we must stay on the same page.
Yep.
So we have to hold our same page meetings. When we have this feeling of misalignment, we got to get in a room and we got to get back on the same page. Resentment can build in this relationship. So you cannot allow resentment to build. As soon as it starts, you got to get in the room and talk about it. So and you have to encourage that. So if you're a visionary, encourage that from an integrator. If you're an integrator, encourage that from a visionary, right? Rule number 2 is that there are no end runs. So end runs are going around somebody either way, right? So somebody's, you say you hire an integrator and there's a leadership team member that's used to coming to you and you're giving them direction, operational direction as a visionary, that's an end run. Or if you're a visionary and you're going 2 levels down and giving operational direction, that's an end run. So we just got to be careful of those end runs because it'll create chaos. And
on that one too, I think that's very common in entrepreneurial organizations. I think that's where I think EOS, sometimes it's just people aren't aware, there's not the expectation or the language to define that.
Right.
But I do think that's one of the key things that EOS provides is giving that definition so that then now you have the common language to define like, hey, Jamie, me, you can't go down and, I can't go tell a project manager how to do their job.
Yes.
Right.
You can go talk to the project manager.
Correct.
Culturally, make sure that things are good. What's going well? What's not going well? How can we help? Oh, that's an interesting thing. Let me bring that to the team, right?
Yeah.
Use the issues list where they belong, right? But I agreed. The next one is that the integrator is the tiebreaker. So this is always a hard one for visionaries to hear, right? But that's why I'm saying the relationship is so important because we are giving the integrator power on the operational decisions. right? But also comes with the power and authority, comes with the responsibility of the outcomes. The P&L performance usually lies in the integrator.
Yeah.
Right? So they're the ones that are watching that. That's why I said they usually have a strong financial acumen, is because of that. Perfect example we've had in real life is was looking at the timing of hiring a leadership team member for Wonder. And you wanted to make this decision and tell the team what was going to be had, right?
Yeah.
And we had a conversation. It's like, that's not your decision.
Yeah.
It's not your call. That's the integrator's call on that timing and when and some of that, right?
Yeah, and that was a good one for me because I backed up and then said like, hey, here's my thoughts. I want to park them with you. You think about it and get back to me and tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly right. Doesn't mean it's like just go and do whatever you want.
Correct.
And it's still in the confines that you still need to work together, right? But ultimately that's that one. Next one is that you're an employee when you're working in the business. So this is for multiple ownerships or just even an owner in general, that if you're an owner, it doesn't give you power operationally
Correct.
anywhere.
No.
The leadership team and the accountability chart and the leadership team brings the clarity of that. So if there's a seat that you're sitting in, like you're an employee when you sit in that seat. When you're an owner, it's over here in the owner's box.
Yeah.
And then last is that you must maintain mutual respect. And that's all about you on the same level. Like just treat each other with respect. It's not a relationship where as an integrator, you just got to do what the visionary says. But it's not a relationship with an integrator. You push the visionary out and say, oh, you're just a crazy visionary. Go sit in the corner.
Correct. Yeah.
We got this thing. Let the grown-ups. Like, no.
Well, I think that's an important thing. Visionary and integrator are roles, not labels.
100%.
Right. It's like it has a defined function. And
because I do struggle with that a little bit on how some people will call that out, but it is that true relationship on how to do that appropriately.
Cool. Well,
but I do think it's a good call out of the next steps. Like, what do you do from here? Right. It's go to Rockfield University, take the crystallizer assessment, do that. You can reach out to me directly, andrew.geisel@eosworldwide.com. If you have anything going on with VI, what maybe just even when it's somebody to talk to about like, I'm a visionary, I don't have an integrator, what's my next step?
Yeah.
Or I'm struggling with my integrator, how do I like handle this conversation or vice versa, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Very good. Well, and if you are looking for visionaries, if you are looking for an integrator, it's an easy title to find, right? Because people use the term. But I would also say it's used by a lot of people now just to be kind of self-labeled as an integrator.
Yeah.
So just dig into the experience and make sure that they've got the background and understand the meaning of it.
Yes. And that's where I think it's just don't hire because they're an integrator.
Yes.
Hire for the seat you
Correct.
need,
Yes.
their experience and the relationship. It's a bonus if they know the EOS world.
And I would just say, if you're a visionary and you're listening to this and you are resistant to get an integrator, you just got to do it. Yeah. I think that it is the most freedom that I've ever gained as an owner of a business. Is just being able to know that someone's got that covered, because there is plenty of stuff for me to still worry about.
And your team members will thank you.
Yes. Yes.
They'll thank you because it just helped. They're trying to track you right now.
Yeah.
And follow around, and it provides a little bit more stability for them when there's this kind of duo helping that out.
All right.
All right. Until next time.
Yeah. See y'all.